Hello, and welcome back. Happy Cinco de Mayo. And now it's time to
Tell me an old captain story.
Episode 3 Old Captain and the Tarantula Hawk. One day, Old Captain was walking in his town of Octopi on the Inkley Isle when he came across one of his favorite people in the world, a boy named Simon. Simon was sitting in the park with a notebook and a pencil, looking very frustrated. Ahoy there, Simon! Old Captain greeted the young lad. Hi, old Captain, Simon said with a sad look on his face. What's wrong? Old Captain asked. Homework, Simon said and tapped a book with his pencil. I have to write this report before I can play with my friends. A report, huh? Old Captain came over and looked at Simon's notebook. It was open to 2 empty pages with some very impressive Godzilla doodles on them. What grade are you in again? Old Captain asked. Third. Oh, the third grade. He looked whimsical for a moment. Well then, what's the report supposed to be about? I'm supposed to write about something cool I saw this weekend. Old Captain stopped and looked around. Wait, is this the weekend? Simon just gave him a look. Why don't you walk with me, and we'll see what interesting things are out there, Old Captain said. Okay. Simon put his pencil in the crook of the notebook and closed it. Let's go. Excellent, Old Captain said with a great wave of his arm. Lead on, Sir Simon the Strong, bravest of all 9-year-old knights. Ha ha! Simon laughed and took his pencil and waved it like a sword. En garde! Well done. Old Captain and Simon started down the nearest path in the park, enjoying the sunshine and a nice breeze. Simon's eyes were the color of the Mediterranean Sea, and his hair was like the sun that shines on it. They walked and talked for a time, and Simon told Old Captain all about his classes and his friends at school. Oh, Old Captain snapped his fingers. This could be like your first quest. Every knight goes on a quest. What shall yours be? I don't know, Simon shrugged. Just then, a bumblebee buzzed between them and startled Simon and Old Captain. Whoa, Old Captain said. Are you afraid of bees? Simon asked. No, no, of course not, the old cavalier replied unconvincingly. He just startled me is all. They walked a few moments more, and then Simon clapped his hands together. I know. What? I know what my quest can be, Simon said with a wide smile. You do? Let's hear it. We have to find the scariest insect in the world. Old Captain shuddered. Ooh, that sounds creepy. Bugs are cool, Simon said. Come on, it'll be fun. Well, I can't say no to a night, now can I? They walked past the last tree on the trail, which now opened up into a desert with sage and cactus. What's the scariest bug you've ever seen? Simon asked. Old Captain twisted his long mustaches. Ooh, I think I'd have to say there are a few. He looked thoughtful. The one that I find especially scary is the tarantula hawk. The what? Simon's face scrunched in disgust. What's a tarantula hawk? The scariest wasp in the world, if you ask me, Old Captain began. I guess in the desert, the wasp and the tarantula are natural enemies. You've seen a tarantula, right? Of course, Simon said. We have one at school in a terrarium. Her name is Lucy. Tarantulas are cool. They are cool, Old Captain agreed. Creepy, but cool. He took off his pirate hat to wipe sweat off his forehead and continued. Anyway, the tarantula hawk is a huge wasp, and it has these super long, creepy back legs that are kind of hairy and look almost like a tarantula's legs. Simon's eyes widened with fear. What happens is, the tarantula hawk flies down and stings the tarantula. The wasp's sting paralyzes it, but it keeps it alive. Simon was hanging on every word Old Captain said. They were so engrossed in their conversation that neither of them had realized just how far into the desert they had gone, though they were both sweating a bit more than usual. Now here's the truly scary part, Old Captain continued. So, I used to think that the wasp, having now paralyzed the poor tarantula, laid its eggs inside the tarantula, and when they hatched, the baby wasps would eat their way out and become part tarantula. And that's why the wasp's legs were so hairy and big, which is horrifying, by the way. But no, that's actually not true. But what is true is equally awful. What is it? Simon asked. The wasp lays its eggs on the tarantula's body, and the spider is alive the whole time, but it cannot move at all. Anyway, the egg hatches, and the baby wasp will then eat the tarantula alive. Old Captain shivered all over. He even grossed himself out telling the story to Simon. Oh my gosh, Simon cried. That's terrifying. Isn't it? Old Captain said.
I'll say.
Came a voice that was neither Simon's nor Old Captain's. Old Captain and Simon stopped in their tracks. Did you hear that? Old Captain asked. Yeah, said Simon. But who said it?
I did.
Came a voice off to the side of the gravelly path. Where are you? Simon asked, looking all around.
Over here.
The voice was clearly frustrated.
Or I guess down here.
Old Captain and Simon looked down toward the voice and saw nothing but a big rock, a barrel cactus, and a big hairy spider. Yard! Old Captain recoiled. Where did that come from? A tarantula, Simon said excitedly. He knelt down and peered at the big arachnid, apparently unafraid. Was that you who said that?
Of course it was me.
The tarantula said.
Who else would it be?
I don't know, Simon replied. I didn't know tarantulas could talk.
Everything talks,
The spider said.
Two-leggers just don't listen.
I've never met a talking spider before, Old Captain said. He seemed reassured that Simon was not afraid and bent down to get a better look at their new acquaintance. What's your name then, friend? Old Captain asked.
Tarantula.
The tarantula said. Old Captain tipped his hat. Really? He said as if he didn't believe it. That's a little on the nose, isn't it?
What's a nose?
Tarantula asked. Ha ha! Simon laughed with glee. This is a nose, silly. He pointed to his own.
Oh, what do you do with that?
We smell with it, Old Captain said.
Huh, interesting.
Tarantula said.
I have hairs on my legs that do that. But why did you say my name was on the nose?
Old Captain stared blankly for a second. Never mind. It's just an expression, he said with a dismissive wave of his hand.
Well, as I was saying, my name is Tarantula Ula Gula Bazula.
Tarantula Ula Gula Bazula? Simon repeated.
That's my name.
Tarantula said.
Don't wear it out, or you'll have to use my last.
Wait, that's only your first name? Old Captain asked.
Of course.
The spider said.
My full name is Tarantula Ula Gula Bazula Zula Zula Fee Fi Fomula. Oh my gosh, just call me Tarantula.
Wow, Old Captain and Simon said in unison. Even you thought it was too long to finish, eh? Old Captain added.
What do you mean?
Tarantula asked.
That's the name my mom gave me.
Quite right, Old Captain said with a nod.
So what do I call you?
Tarantula asked.
Besides two-leggers.
Oh, where are my manners? Old Captain said. This is my good friend, Sir Simon the Strong, and everyone calls me Old Captain. Pleased to meet you, Tarantula, Simon said.
Likewise,
said the tarantula. Simon and Old Captain sat down to chat with their new friend. A few high clouds obscured the afternoon sun and provided some much appreciated, if not temporary, relief from the heat.
So anyway,
Tarantula said in a low voice,
the reason I got your attention is the very thing you were talking about.
Old Captain scratched his head and looked quizzical. What were we talking about, Simon? He said. I can't remember. It took Simon a moment of thinking, too. Oh, the tarantula wasp.
Shh,
Tarantula said.
they might hear you, and they don't like being called wasps. They're tarantula hawks.
Simon was pretty sure that if Tarantula had shoulders, he would have looked over them in that moment. Oh, Old Captain looked around. Are you in danger? I don't see a... He leaned in and whispered, Tarantula. Anywhere. I do, Simon said. A chill ran down old Captain's spine. Tarantula started shaking. Simon eyed the tarantula hawk flicking its copper-colored wings menacingly on the twisted trunk of a mesquite tree. Thinking quickly, Simon grabbed old Captain's big pirate hat and dropped it over Tarantula just in time as the tarantula hawk dove for the attack. The frightening wasp hit the hat and got its stinger stuck. Whoa! Old Captain reared back. Quick thinking, Simon. The wasp struggled and buzzed madly, trying to get out of the old pirate's hat, but it was no use. Its stinger was fully buried in the thick fabric.
What's happening?
The muffled voice of Tarantula came from under the hat.
I can't see anything. Guys, are you still there?
We're still here, friend, old Captain said as he looked around for something, anything, to contain or calm down the frantically buzzing wasp. Brave Simon just saved the day,
I'm stuck,
came the high voice of the tarantula hawk.
Can you help me, please?
How about this? Simon said, holding a finger up. We'll help you get unstuck, but you have to promise not to hurt Tarantula. Deal?
What? Who's Tarantula?
The lady wasp asked.
I am,
Cried the spider under old Captain's hat. He's our little friend you tried to sting, old Captain said. You know, hairy, has 8 legs, about this big. He used his hand to indicate Tarantula's size. The wasp struggled against the hat, buzzing her wings wildly.
Please, just let me go.
The wasp cried.
I just want to go home.
Well, Simon said to the wasp, if we do, are you going to hurt our friend? Old Captain noticed how hard the wasp was fighting against the fabric of his hat and wondered if she would actually hurt herself trying to get out. He gestured to Simon. See if you can find a flower or something, old Captain said. Simon jumped up and looked around and found a bright yellow flower on a creosote bush and plucked it. How's this? Simon asked and handed the flower to old Captain. Worth a try, old Captain said. He put the flower down next to the tarantula hawk's head, hoping to calm her down. The wasp grunted and strained to use her legs and wings to unstick her stinger that was buried deep in the hat when she saw the flower.
I don't want a flower.
Said the wasp. Suddenly she started to slow down. Her movements weren't as quick, and she stopped buzzing so much. She started feeling the flower with her antenna and seemed to be calming down.
Well,
she said.
I have been quite hungry. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to eat something.
Old Captain and Simon shared a look. Simon got up and got another flower and placed it by the wasp. There you go, old Captain said. A right feast for you. I hope you enjoy.
Mm-mm.
The wasp said and sounded like she had a mandible full.
This nectar is delicious.
Do you have a name? Simon asked.
I'm Tila,
the wasp said. Nice to meet you, Tila, Simon said. This is old Captain, and I'm Simon.
Don't forget me,
the voice from under the hat said. Oh, yes, Simon said, and that's Tarantula. So, Tila, old Captain said, do you promise not to harm Tarantula if we get you free?
Yes,
Tila said drowsily.
I promise.
Tila the tarantula hawk ate all the nectar she could get from the 2 flowers, and even a little more when Simon plucked another for her. Her copper-colored wings started to settle on her blue and black shiny body as she was slowing down. After a moment, she seemed to curl up in a ball like the size of a $50 on the brim of old Captain's hat. She didn't seem concerned about being stuck anymore. I think she's asleep, old Captain whispered to Simon. Old Captain thought for a moment. He put a hand in his pocket and pulled out a gold coin. This should do the trick, he said in a low voice, and lifted the hat up very slowly so as not to disturb the sleeping Tila. He peered under the hat and called Tarantula. It's okay, friend. She's asleep. You can come out now.
Are you sure?
Tarantula asked. Old Captain nodded and lifted the hat a little more to let the tarantula out from under it. Then he felt very gently inside the hat with his finger until he found the stinger sticking through his hat, and used the gold coin to, ever so lightly, push the stinger out toward the wasp so she would be free of the hat. Once her stinger was free of the fabric, old Captain took a piece of mesquite bark that was curled up on the edges and used it to slide under Tila's body like a little bed. Simon made a little pile of sand to act as a pillow, and old Captain set the sleeping wasp on the piece of bark down. Huh, Old Captain said. How about that? Never thought I'd put a wasp down for a nap. Tarantula creeps gently toward Simon and stayed close, afraid of what would happen if the tarantula hawk woke up. Are you okay, Tarantula? Simon asked softly.
I am thanks to you.
The spider said.
How can I ever repay you?
No need, friend, Simon said. Always happy to help. He smiled.
Well,
Tarantula said.
if either of you ever need anything I can help with, you just let me know. You've made a friend of all tarantula kind today. I'll never forget it.
You've made a friend in us, Old Captain said cheerfully. And that's all for now. Thanks for listening to
Tell me no captain stories.